Just wrapped up the reviews of the individual single-carded figures from the Armadillo Build-A-Figure wave. Want to take a casual look at the Armadillo Build-A-Figure. Alright, let's do it.
This ain't for no scalper. You a scalper? Then fuck out shit. This one's for them real collectors. That's army building and posing figures. Marvel Legends, imports, mini matey, I'm fucking with them. Hype beast, we know about you. Stay buying figs, don't know about it.
There were 7 figures in this wave. You only needed 6 figures to complete this massive figure. Very first time getting Armadillo in the life of the Marvel Legends line, a character that first appeared in Captain America number 308 in August of 1985. I'd say this is a sort of more modern look for the character, but definitely a look that we've seen plenty of times in the comic books. I think his kind of first appearance or the early appearances look much more armored and more like an actual armadillo. Not to say that this version doesn't, but I wouldn't mind actually seeing another version of this Build-A-Figure or see them redoing him at some point down the line. I'm sure that will take quite a while, but it is what it is. The sculpt, the design, the girth of this figure, all great. Definitely could use a little bit of dry brushing, some shade in here. I'm sure some of you customizers out there have already taken to this figure with your dry brush and made him look that much better, but it is a great sculpt. It's going to be interesting to see who else they may be able to make from this base buck. You know Marvel Legends is going to get as much out of a mold as they possibly can. I've already seen people saying that they may be able to make A.C.B.A and a couple of other characters. Let me know in the comments below who you guys may want to see with this particular buck. While I do like the size of this figure, you know I do pretty much prefer all of the villains to be larger in stature than most of the heroes, unless they are depicted as being very small, and if they're big, they should be really big in figure form to kind of tower over the heroes. I do have a few problems with the mechanics of this figure, the engineering here, if you will. Clearly a guy of this size is going to have superhuman strength and durability. A guy named Armadillo is going to be armored up, and it's going to be difficult to injure him, so he has increased durability and all of that stuff. I think you guys could pretty much figure that out about him. But yeah, in terms of the engineering, the articulation, I have a few issues. First and foremost, the head and neck articulation is very limited. At least it is on my version. I can barely get this barbell joint to move. So other than rotating, getting them to look up or down seems very difficult right now. Maybe I need to heat this up a little bit, put some hot water on it. But aside from that, when you put the arms up, that detachable sort of armored up back shoulder piece will become unpegged. It will become undone, and that doesn't really look good. You can see some gappage there up on the shoulders, so that doesn't really work unless you kind of have him in a vanilla stance or have him with his arms sort of down toward the side. That just does not look good. It's not going to photograph well. Aside from that, you can see that the wrist pegs here for the hands are very, very small. For such a large figure, it seems a bit silly to have these really small wrist pegs. And this particular one for the right hand, right arm, is sort of fused right now. I can't even get it to hinge up and down. I'll be able to fix that, I'm sure, but I don't like that the pegs are so small. I feel like they could be prone to some breakage. Yeah, the left hand I can get it to hinge, but I can't move the right one right now. Again, I'll have to heat that up. And then the other thing I don't like is it's kind of difficult to get him to stand upright and be flat-footed or have his feet planted because the hinge on the feet isn't really deep enough. This is something that I discussed with the Miles Morales from this wave, and so he's kind of leaning back a little bit. His feet aren't really flush. This hinge needs to be a little deeper. It does work, but you know, I just wish that it could hinge up a bit more so he could stand flush. And again, this may be an issue where I need to just apply some heat down here and do some things to kind of loosen them up a bit. The articulation is pretty much what you would expect for a figure this big. It's single jointed elbows and knees. For what he lacks in articulation, I kind of wish they would have made up for with some additional accessories or additional head sculpt, an additional set of hands. That would have been great. They've been doing that with some Build-A-Figures on and off. I guess like every other Build-A-Figure they've been doing that with. But a more neutral head sculpt and maybe some fists would have been really nice here. And while I do feel like the hinge could be a little deeper as far as the feet hinging upward, the ankle pivots work fine. You can get them balanced. You can get them in a decent sort of like running or charging pose, but that limited head neck articulation is bugging me a little bit, because even with a decent running or charging pose, you can't really get his head to look up and forward and kind of look at whatever he's charging at. Now there are little tricks that you can do. I pop the head off here and I use a little piece of wax. This is an old ACBA maneuver that we've been doing for years, and and that'll get his head to kind of look upright, and that I think looks cool. The illusion is broken a little bit when you shoot from the side, but you'll just have to play with it a bit. And a few quick size comparisons here. Here he is with his wave mates, the figures that I reviewed. I did not review the integrated suit Spider-Man, but there's Doctor Strange, there's Spider-Man in his inside out suit, J. Jonah Jameson, Shriek, Morlun, and Teenage Miles Morales from the Gamerverse. And then here he is next to an upright Spider-Man. This is the retro carded Spider-Man that I've been utilizing in previous shots. And then I broke out the 80th anniversary Captain America. Pretty interesting that Armadillo first appeared in a Captain America comic book, but they put him in as a Build-A-Figure for Spider-Man themed wave. Looking forward to that new Captain America that we're going to be receiving soon for the 20-year anniversary of Marvel Legends. A more sort of light blue, sort of classic look for Captain America. Here he is sized up with some other random villains of varying sizes. We have the recently released retro carded Psycho Man, Leader, Cyber from the Wolverine 5-pack, and Silvermane down there on the far right. There's Mastermind, Bullseye, and Rhino on the far right. Maybe they will give us an updated sort of new Rhino on this base buck. As you can see, Armadillo is larger than this Rhino Build-A-Figure. There's Ursa Major and Thanos. There's a baby, MODOK, Grey Gargoyle, and one of the female Sentinel Prime figures that came with the Haslab Sentinel. And there's the Haslab Sentinel and Callisto. So definitely a figure I would recommend that you pick up here in the Armadillo Build-A-Figure. You know, I always advocate for characters that have never been done in the line. And being that this is the first time that we've received him, I'd say you should probably pick him up. Not to mention that I complete all of the Build-A-Figures no matter what. But yeah, a cool character, sort of like a B or C list villain. He's had some team-ups in the comics. He was actually part of the Hood's gang too. So you know we got a Hood figure not too long ago in the Zimnu Build-A-Figure wave. So definitely some opportunities to pair him up with some figures you already have, expand on your Marvel Universe, and put together some really cool shelf displays or toy photography in ACBA. And despite leaving a bit to be desired in the articulation department and wishing that there were some more accessories, it's a pretty solid Build-A-Figure. So get out there, get on a hunt. Thanks for hanging out. As always, rate, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell down there. And until next time, peace.
I'm in the game, I'm grinding, I got to play 24 hours in a day, 7 days out the week, I never sleep. I'm on my grizzly bear, 52 weeks out the year.